welcome. Greetings from San Francisco, and welcome to CMS Wire's latest webinar, Maximizing Engagement with Digital Assets, Practical Strategies for Simplicity, Consistency, and Quality. We've got a pretty straightforward agenda today. We're going to start off with some quick introductions and housekeeping, and then we're going to go into about 35 minutes of the main presentation with speakers Tam Tang, Bertrand Gillet, and Catherine Schmidt. During this process, we hope that we inspire a few questions, and during the latter half of the hour, we're going to be taking questions from you. And the way that we do that is by using the WebEx Client. If you look on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see the column of tools in the WebEx Client. Among those are a chat and Q&A module, and you can use either one, but the important thing is that when you're submitting questions, you select to send them to all panelists. That way any of us can pick them up on this side. The Q&A module works equally well if you're more comfortable with that. Just again, select to submit your question to all panelists. One more thing we're going to be using here in the WebEx Client are the polls. We're going to submit 2 polls for your response today. They're also on the right-hand side. When the poll is popped up, unfortunately it doesn't come to the center of the screen, so you're going to have to look to the right, select the response, and then click to submit. It takes about a minute for these polls to run, and once we have all the responses in, we'll be sharing the results with everyone. At this point, I'm going to introduce our moderator today, Tom Murphy. Tom is General Manager and Editorial Director here at Simpler Media, CMS Wire. He's been in the business a long time. He's spent about the last 3 decades writing about technology and business, and has helped build some of the top online media companies, including MarketWatch, Red Herring, and Bloomberg News. Tom is also the author of a book called Web Rules, How the Internet is Changing the Way Consumers Make Choices. Tom, I'm going to hand over to you now.
Thanks very much, Bryce, and welcome to our global audience today, especially our friends in Europe. Good afternoon to you. Good morning to those of you who joined us from anywhere else, or good evening if you're further to the east. We have an exciting program today, and I want to say that, first of all, it's being produced by CMSWire.com. This is an 11-year-old publication. We have more than 300 editorial contributors. Many of them are folks like yourself, practitioners in the field. We have over 200 articles a month. We have monthly editorial themes. DAM is coming up on our calendar. We have tweet jams, hangouts, webinars, and other events. And our 3 primary topic areas are customer experience and digital marketing, social business and enterprise collaboration, and enterprise information management. Today's program is sponsored by the good folks at HP's Autonomy division. Autonomy helps clients optimize the value they derive from their most strategic assets, information, and people. You can find out more about Autonomy at autonomy.com. Now it's my real pleasure to start introducing our panelist. Tam Tang is Product Marketing Manager at HP, who spends his time mostly on autonomy. He's investigating trends within digital marketing, web content management, and digital asset management so that HP can better serve its clients' requirements. Cochon is COO at TBSCG. He spent the last 15 years building online solutions and is living in Brussels. He travels on a weekly basis to other offices in Europe and the United States. Our third speaker today will be Catherine Schmidt, Marketing Asset Manager for Felco. She joined Felco's marketing department back in 1991 and was faced with the company's tremendous worldwide image distribution and quality control challenges. She's been the champion of a company-wide enterprise CMS and DAM solution that has successfully evolved as a core platform for the past 9 years. I'll be dropping into the program from time to time, but right now I want to get things started by introducing Tam Tang. Tam, would you take it away, please?
Thank you very much, Tom. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me on this call. Really excited about today. So my job within HP involves me doing a lot of market research, going around the world, traveling and meeting our clients, as well as very interesting use cases on how people are using web content management and digital asset management. And I'm sure everyone on this call has noticed that the world has become increasingly interactive. It's a lot of digital first, which has become a lot of the majority of experiences of our customers. not only that, but there's a merging of both online and the offline experience. A lot of it is driven by the smartphone, but obviously it's being driven by other things as well. And you can see a few examples here. It could be anything like Volvo's campaign for the V40, which recently enabled people to design their own car whilst they're outside of billboards, or the Henry Ford Museum. A lot of museums now are allowing people to create their own collections based on articles or images or various different things that they see, including audio files that they see whilst they're going around the exhibit. And on a smaller scale, real estate agents are starting to use iPads quite extensively to enable people to view listings in real time and be able to make adjustments to which houses they want to see based on the criteria that they select. Could be neighborhood, could be price range, could be any number of things. So increasingly what you're seeing is that digital experience is being brought offline, as well as that offline experience being brought online. Oh, pardon me, I skipped a slide. That's pretty sinister. So, that kind of interaction and that increase in demand is causing a number of different things. It's significantly raised the bar for us as marketers and as organizations. We've gone from basically a point-and-click web culture to something where customers are demanding more visual, interactive experiences. You can see an example here where Nikon has produced a learning community for photographers, which is very app-like. You can click on any of those particular tiles. It will take you to a particular article, which is embedded with not just tips on how a photographer took that particular picture, but also the process. It features videos as well as related content that to help drive that. And very smartly, Nikon has embedded different pieces of commerce in that. So for them, it's a concept of content driving commerce, and they've seen significant increases in that add to cart because of that. So that visual experience, interactive, being able to bring that digital is important, but also bringing it offline. What you're seeing more in trends is things like augmented reality, where people are able to use their smartphone, view either a print magazine or maybe a poster and get more information on that. GQ recently ran a very interesting campaign where you were able to put your smartphone against the GQ magazine or a particular item that you're interested in, and it would literally take you to the vendor's site as well, giving you more information about that particular clothing item. They're much more interactive. That is causing other problems as you get more visitors and you're demanding more interaction. They're increasing performance requirements on your back-end systems, and particularly your website. Everyone knows that Google is starting to factor performance into the search ranking. And then, of course, because the off-world and online world is merging, there's increasing demand of brand consistency. There's nothing worse than having one experience online or being given an offer online and then having something completely different offered to you in a print or customer service or anything like that. But what we're seeing is a lot of organizations are rushing towards meeting these requirements. And as you can see from the slide, it's because a poor customer experience is extremely damaging. To give you some more numbers around that, there was a recent study done back in January by New Voice Media, which equated about $41 billion worth of lost revenue being due to poor customer experiences, where people have basically switched from one result to another, one competitor to another because of that. So, sorry for the poor formatting of this slide, but as you can see, it's become a top priority of many CMOs. They're expecting to integrate every customer touchpoint within 5 years before they launched it. And it's everything from mobile to laptops to digital kiosks to print. And this integration is not just a technical integration, but an organizational integration in order to provide a very personalized and consistent experience to all customers. But, in reality, it's hard to do, right? I'm a practitioner myself. We have multiple different channels that we need to use, and they're specialized. So each particular device, if you just look at devices and not type of media that you can use in different devices, they're all separate. They're separated by different use cases, different types of technologies, different systems, different teams, and often different understanding of the customer. And this is creating different experiences. When you look at smartphones, it's very much people on the go, instant impulse gratification. You look at PCs, and it's more about content creation. You look at tablets, it's more about casual content consumption and research. But you are seeing shifts. For example, smartphones. There's another recent study that is showing that there are more and more people buying on smartphones, and that people who buy on smartphones tend to spend more. And so, as a company, how do you keep up with that? Well, one of the ways of doing that is ensuring that you have a common source of truth in what you're doing. It's probably difficult that you're going to have one organizational team that looks after all your channels, just as you're not going to have one team who does both marketing and sales and communication and customer support. But what you do need to enable is that there is a common understanding of what is your brand identity, as well as what your customer needs are to the marketplace. And DAM features at the heart of that. It's vital. It's one of those vital things. As people become more visual, as we're trying to give people more interactive visual experiences across the board, having a central repository that acts as your single point of truth across both your systems and as well as your organization is vital. A proper DAM implemented well really should act as the source of truth for both your website, print products, your e-commerce system, digital kiosks, your customer relationship management, and enterprise. DAM, what we're seeing out there is that DAMs are not just being used for rich images, but also being used as a proper self-service vehicle for, say, brochures or for also presentations. And that makes it available to both the sales team as well as the marketing team. God love the sales team. They're going to need, we've all probably as marketers had a request from a salesperson saying, hey, I really loved your presentation that you gave a couple of days ago. Where can I find it? Or I really need a picture of this specific product. Can you help me create a PowerPoint for it? Can you help me create a slide for it? Well, rather than doing that, why not enable the sales team to go into your digital asset management on a permission basis and be able to download the correct file, right? It's an easy thing to do. Helps you, helps everyone else, and make sure that you have better brand consistency. So, what is holding us back from making this happen? Well, there are certain pitfalls to DAM and problems with its adoption. A lot of it is about the proper implementation of the DAM to be able to help you find content and reuse it. Just having a single repository really doesn't cut it. What you need to be able to do is be able to search for your assets and enable people to find those assets, even if they don't know what the title is. That's a hard trick to use, to do, to perform, and a lot of companies haven't got it quite right yet. Another part of it is productivity and appropriate use. With the rise of things like digital rights management, for example, but not even just that. If you're a consumer brand, you're trying to make sure that you're enforcing like brand guidelines as well as seasonal fashion trends and anything that goes around that way. How do you enforce that? That is something where having a really advanced, flexible workflow is something that's important. We talk a lot about that in digital asset management about meta tags and manual tagging. That is extremely hard to do. Hiring a librarian or a team of taxonomists to do that is something only large organizations can do, and subject to fairly, I wouldn't say whimsical, but subjective calls. So, how do we get along that? I'm not going to spend too much time on that because metadata is one of those things that you could spend a whole different webinar on. So for HP Media Bin, what we've done is that our way of tackling this problem is providing semantic search. So, we provide deep analytics that on ingest or upload of an asset, we automatically extract the key concepts that are within the image so that you don't have to do tagging. We combine both ease of use with integration. Now remember, the two key stakeholders of a DAM system are both your users, both internal and external if you're working with partners, but also the systems that you need to integrate with. There's no point in having a single repository for your newest product if that asset isn't automatically distributed to your website, to your social media, to your print, to other places and made accessible to everyone automatically. If you have to manually do that, you're kind of defeating the purpose. Like I said, one of the things that we really do, it's really about being able to extract meaning from content. Even without having a title, you should be able to find that, and not only find the assets you want, but help your people find related assets. Because sometimes people don't know what they're looking for. Having that full-blown work engine so that you can make sure that assets are distributed enterprise-wide, not just in marketing, is key. And that involves having a very flexible visual-based workflow, as well as having that deep integration. And so, with that being said, I will turn the presentation over to Bryce. Thank you very much. Sorry, not Bryce. Bertrand.
Bertrand, are you on?
Yes, I am, but I was muted, of course.
Well, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. So can you... Okay. Okay, so is it okay? Do you see the slide deck?
Yes, that's working fine. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks for joining this webinar today. So my name is Bertrand Gillet, and I'm the CEO of TBSCG. We are an integrator specialized into the DAM and CMS systems. I will go through this presentation about the maximizing engagement with digital assets. Very briefly in agenda, I will first go through some usual issues and challenges that maybe most of you are facing at the moment within the enterprise, and then we'll see why a DAM can help by implementing a single source of truth. These words have been heard already in CAM presentation. How to automate, well, almost everything. So how to make sure that you don't lose time by doing unnecessary tasks with your assets, and how to work with a service-oriented architecture, how to implement the DAM properly in order to serve web visitors, of course, mobile visitors, intranet visitors, but also how to serve print automation systems and many other systems that can be implemented in the enterprise landscape to make sure that engaging will be not only with customers, but with many other people within the organization. And at last, I will talk to you about a product extension that we have built at TBSCG called the Beverage Media Bin Accelerator. So this is to demonstrate that the choice of a DAM system must be made by making sure that the software will be open enough to the outside to be integrated within your landscape and be open to others so we can extend it. And this is what we've done with the VMDA, and you'll see that indeed HP Media Bin is entirely exposed via web services, and we've been able to connect that to, for instance, Akamai and solve some customer issues this way. So why a DAM can help to maximize engagement? So first, engage with who? For sure, you need to engage with your customers, and this is a part of a CAM presentation, and you have to do it on multiple channels, on print, on the web, on mobile, but also potentially your employees or your suppliers. If you talk about an enterprise architecture, you want to make sure maybe that on the delivery notes that you send to suppliers, then you have the right logo and things like that. You want to make sure that your partners can also use the DAM or take benefits of the unified assets and can be engaged more efficiently, and we'll see that in Catherine's presentation. after mine, how to make sure that your partners worldwide can, for instance, download the very latest marketing material and even adapt the very latest marketing material to their own needs. Journalists and press, so if you want to make some PDF available and you have a high security standards about that, then you surely do not want to store this PDF somewhere on a hard drive and just send them by email. And in the context of an enterprise, the IT and all the systems at some point will be consolidated or might be consolidated, and you want to make sure that the DAM system that you will choose and the way that you will implement can serve, yes, the holding, of course, but also all the subsidiaries, and that the information can or cannot be shared. So you want to be able to share the information if possible, or restrict access to the information as well in both ways. So first, engage with we see that it's not only customers, it's not only on a website. There are way more ways to engage with people. And what are the usual issues engaging with all these people that you've just seen? Well, the first real problem that is still not solved if you don't have a DAM or a proper information management system is that you have assets literally everywhere. So maybe not in the whole galaxy, or well, this is N83, so maybe not in another galaxy, but for sure you have dozens, if not hundreds, of hard drives all over your organization with assets. And that's not the worst thing. The worst thing is that it might be the same assets or more or less the same assets, but for sure not the latest version of the assets. And these assets are in all the possible formats. So you might have a PSD, which is your base logo, and then you can have maybe multiple JPEGs for the websites. Well, the websites of last year in a given dimension, and then the website of this year in just a different size, and then maybe Word documents and so on and so forth. They might very well be outdated as well. So if you think about the PDFs for the journalist, and if you want to maintain versions and make sure that when you modify one, the next journalist will get the very latest version of it, then yeah, you want to make sure that there is no outdated content. So the content itself, as soon as it is duplicated, is necessarily outdated somewhere. One of them will not be synchronized. It is by nature insecure if it is everywhere. The more repositories you have, the more chances there is that someone will just gain access to it and steal some data. Well, it might very well as well breaching copyrights. If you buy some images from third parties, and or if you produce yourself images, you want to make sure that that you still have the right to use these images, so that you don't breach any copyrights. And you want to make sure as well that the images that you, or the videos or the PDFs that you broadcast to the world are properly watermarked, and that there are proper information about the copyright on them. They probably also are very expensive to transform. So maybe you do not have 10 people busy transforming your assets, but if you count every manual human action that is required when you do not have a digital asset management system, when you count all of these actions and when you do the sum of them across, let's say, 1 year, the cost of the manual transformation of these assets can be extremely high. And there are a lot of hidden costs behind that: human resources costs, office costs, network, and so on and so forth, and also the cost of all the previous issues. So the cost of having assets everywhere, the cost of having assets in all possible formats, the cost of having outdated assets, which could be legal costs, and so on and so forth. So yes, assets are expensive to transform, and more generally expensive to own. And they are probably very hard to publish and reuse. So yes, at the moment we are not yet in the matrix, but clearly there are lots and lots and lots of websites maybe in your organization, and well, you might end up duplicating the same assets in your B2B website, in your B2C website, in your B2E website, in your intranet, on your print materials, and so on and so forth, or maybe on Facebook and on YouTube as well. So these are, I think, the usual issues that we see happening at our customers. So basically, this might be someone in your organization just being flooded by information and duplication of information, and not really knowing where to go. And I think that the DAM is clearly a good solution to this, and I'm going to go through that in the next slides. But before, I think it's time for the first poll, for the poll question 1.
Right you are, Bertrand. Great presentation so far, and we'll come back to it in just a minute. But first, I'd like to direct our listeners to the poll question that just popped up on the right side of your screen. You should see at the bottom of the right column a polling section. You can expand that. And the first question is, are you currently using a DAM system? Simple enough. The answers are yes, no, not sure, and we're evaluating that now. Please choose one of those and then click the Submit button on the bottom right of the screen. That's very important. And we're going to take about 30, 40 seconds to compile votes here. So please lock in your answers. During that time, I'd like to remind our listeners that you can ask a question at any time during this presentation by going to the Q&A or chat section. The Q&A is better, actually. Selecting all panelists, typing in your question there, and we'll put it on our list for the last part of our program. Bertrand, while we're waiting for the results to come in here, I'm wondering what you think the percentage will be of people who are not using a DAM system right now.
Oh, so I need to guess. So my gut feeling tells me that, I don't know, 40% would be a no, or a not sure, B and C, 40% together, and then 40, let me do a correct math, 40 and 30% yes, and 30% evaluating. I would say A 30, B plus C 40, D 30.
Well, I see the poll has ended, and here we have the results. And it looks like you're not too far off. About 23% are using the DAM system right now. 27% are not using a DAM system. And the rest are either not sure or evaluating it. That's another 18%. And 32%, about a third of our audience didn't answer. We really want to get you involved in the program, so please answer our next poll question, and we want to count your votes. We're going to move on with Bertrand's presentation now. If you can click to your next slide, Bertrand, I think you can proceed.
Okay, please, if I'm too quick or too fast, just let me know. I'm just conscious about the time, and I don't want to this session to run out of time. So
it's a lot of information. I think you're doing fine. Just take a breath here and there.
Okay, thank you. So why a DAM can help? Sorry. So first, a very important concept is that it is a single source of truth, and it has to be as soon as you implement a DAM system. You are not going to implement 10 DAM systems across 10 subsidiaries. You are not going to implement 10 DAM systems, one for the web, one for the print, one for videos, and one for the intranet. This doesn't make sense. So it has to be a single source of truth across the enterprise. So it means that there is no more duplicated files anywhere. You have to make sure that the master assets are existing in one and only one version in the DAM. One and only one version, and that this version is in the DAM. The DAM, of course, will create different versions if you modify this master, but it is in one location only. That's a key concept. So if you want to work on it, you absolutely have to make sure that the DAM is the latest good information, that is just known and approved information thanks to the workflows of the system. That's a key thing. As I said, you're not going to implement 10 DAM systems, you're going to implement one. So you will have a centralized infrastructure, and that's also a key to make sure that the return on investments is there and is measurable. Instead of having zillions of hard drives everywhere, you will have one server handling all these things for you. But you can have local asset management. You must have local asset management, I would say, within the DAM. So thanks to security and workflows within the DAM, each subsidiary of the holding or each department within the enterprise, each channel could have its own assets with the ability to share with others or maybe to not share with others. For instance, if you think about an HR department within an enterprise, you certainly do not want to share too much from the HR. Well, usually you don't want to. And so it's key that what I call the local asset management is really to be the opposite of the centralized infrastructure. It is required to have both. One infrastructure, but many people working on it in a structured and secured way. And then if you do all these things, then all of a sudden, what Cam explained in his slides, the search, thanks to the automatic tagging of the videos, of the face recognition, and all these new features that are now available in HP Media Room, then suddenly the searching across your media library is becoming extremely powerful and will give you all the information you need. And then it's a virtuous cycle, because if you can't find the information, then you are not tempted to duplicate it, and then you are not tempted to breach the principle to have only one master of the file. So the search is the key. The centralized information is the way that this key can be enabled, and then people will love to use it because they will always find what they're looking for if it exists in the system, of course. So the second thing that is really a key to implement when you go through a DAM project is to automate almost everything. So of course you cannot automate everything. The system cannot guess what you want to do. However, when it comes to asset transformation, whether they are PDFs, videos, images, PSDs, and everything else, a lot of the things that are costing a lot of money, as I said earlier, are costing money because they are not automated properly. So just think about removing JPEG metadata. I mean, we've seen that a lot of, we all know stories where, I've heard a story, I mean, not later than last week here in Belgium, of a company publishing just a picture of their HQ, saying that it was taken that date and that the weather was wonderful. Unfortunately, the JPEG metadata were just saying the exact opposite, and of course, some web visitors found out. So just to tell you that when you expose your assets, you need to make sure that you control all the metadata that are embedded within the assets, and the DAM can absolutely make sure to remove all the unnecessary information, all the information that you do not want to publish to the outside. Also, you can make, for instance, force a color space. So why the hell would you do that on the web? Well, maybe because you want to use your assets on the print as well. Let's say that you want to flatten Photoshop layers, that you don't want to transform these big PSDs every time you want to use them. The DAM can do that for you. You can do even more. You could replace text layers on the fly, and we'll see an example of that in Tam presentation. You can, of course, convert images, well, to images. So let's say resize them, change the format, constrain proportions, and all the possible transformations you can think about, but also convert an image to PDF, for instance, or transcode videos, or do speech-to-text on videos, resize assets, and also, let's say, convert PDFs into images. So why would you do that? Well, there is a very useful use case. Instead of on your website, instead of putting just PDF icons to download the document, well, just put the icon as well, but all over with the mouse. Just maybe show the first page of the PDF. That's out of the box with a DAM, or maybe create a gallery to read the PDF without having a PDF viewer installed. That's also out of the box. We can transform all the pages into images without having to do anything manually, and that's the key. Or apply a mask. So why would you do that? Let's say that your new design agency and your new strategist decide that you need to have rounded corners across around all your product images. Well, in a normal world with no DAM, you need to have a designer to go through all the files and apply the mask manually to have rounded corners. Not with a DAM. You can make sure that all the product images would have the mask. And what about if he says, oh, it's not the top left corner on which I want rounded, but the bottom right corner? No problem. Just change the mask, apply the change, and all of a sudden, all your images online will be updated. So that's the key. If you want to see some return of investment on a DAM implementation, you have to use it and use it to the max, and make sure that you automate and that you use the system to automate all the things that can be automated. And then once you have implemented the DAM and that you have automated everything that was possible within your organization thanks to the DAM, it is key to make sure that other services within your organization can talk to the DAM and integrate with. So for instance, you have to explore this single source of truth to asset consumers. But an asset consumer can be, for instance, a website, for sure, as I said, or a mobile site, or a mobile application, or some print automation software, which could then produce catalogs automatically using DAM images. These could also be backend tools So let's say that you have a who's who within your organization on the intranet and you want to store the images within the DAM. You have a PIM, so a product information management system within your organization. And of course, you do not want to duplicate product images within the PIM, even if the PIM can do that. A very good idea is to just store a link to an image in the DAM. So the day that you want to publish a catalog from your PIM, either to your website or to a printed catalog, you will have all the information to make sure that the assets will be used in the correct format. And also a CRM. So if you want to produce invoices, and that a lot of your invoices are containing images, for instance, images of your product, then you can make sure that your CRM, who might generate invoices, for instance, are going to use the proper versions. So this is all done thanks to the DAM, which will be exposed on the enterprise service bus. So a DAM is just another service in the enterprise, which can be used directly as a DAM or as an image factory for your website, as a product image repository for your PIM, of course, as a product information, a product image repository for your e-commerce site, for your intranet, for your HR and pictures of people, and from your CRM if you want to drop images on your invoices, for instance. Okay, so the key is to make sure that the digital asset management system is being exposed to the other services. Any DAM project must at some point take the advantage in which enterprise landscape it is deployed. Okay. The last thing I want to talk to you about is a small product that we've developed called the WebEx Client Accelerator. This product is something that TBSCG that we have developed, and that sits in between your client's browser, so what you're using at the moment to watch this webinar, and the MediaBin server. So the idea behind that, it solves the following problem. So like you have new viewports appearing almost every day. So a viewport is a screen with a given dimension and a given DPI settings, and you have some viewports appearing every day, every time a new device is released. So whether you talk about the iPad 1, 2, the iPad Air, the iPad Mini, the maybe iPad Air Mini 2B, or the MacBook Pro with Retina screens, or the new Yoga Lenovo with very high definitions, or maybe your HD TV at home, your iPhone, any older phone with different resolutions and different DPIs. These things are just coming on the market every day. So how can you make sure? How can you make sure that your assets will be displayed at their best, with the best possible definitions and DPI settings on all these devices? That's a very important problem. We've seen implementations where for one image, we have more than 80 to 90 derivatives, so sub-images, just to be adapted to different viewports. So it goes very fast. And the problem is that even if you do it manually, there is no way to guess what the next generation will bring on the table. I mean, you might guess it during the Apple keynote, but then you have just a couple of days to transform all your images to be available on your website or on your mobile site. So thanks to the HP MediaBin plus the WebEx MediaBin Accelerator, we can automate and make all this transformation totally transparent for all the users of the website. So if we take a website, for instance, the Felco website, which Catherine will talk to we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. You see this website. If I go in responsive design, the tool itself, it looks like it's the same size, right? But in fact, it's not. It's a subtle change, but it is to fit to the window and to fit to that size of the window. And no, we haven't made anything manual to do that. We have just told the web designers, guys, in order to display this image, just use this URL. It will point to the WebEx MediaBin Accelerator, who will get the proper image to you in real time. So as soon as you want to go with responsive or adaptive design, this tool is a must. And another case is when you need multiple transformations of the same assets, like immediately. Think about the news website where contributors are just uploading pictures of some live events happening right now. They're not going to, these photographs, they're not going to change and to rework all the images on the site for you in 80 different formats. And maybe you have on the home page a component with a small icon with an image, and when you click on it, you go to a detail page with a bigger image, and when you click again on the image, you see a full screen image. So basically, you don't have to worry about these things at all anymore. So the thing is that from one click from your CMS or your printing automation system, you can get these benefits. And the key of these 3 slides is to make sure that everyone understands that it is absolutely required that your DAM system is exposed through web services, and that it can be consumed outside the strict scope of the DAM itself. Okay? So what we've done, basically, this is the normal way of working. You have MediaBin, and the images are going into the CMS, going into the publisher, maybe being deployed to Akamai, and then being used by the visitor. Basically, the change of the paradigm is the following. MediaBin becomes itself an image factory that can be accessed directly from the visitor's browser, and more importantly, it can be interfaced with Akamai, it can be connected to Akamai, and it knows when to flush Akamai if you update your assets. Okay, and of course, it works for mobile and web browsers as well. That's it for my slides. Sorry if I've been fast, but I think it's 20 minutes to the end of the presentation, so it's time for me to wrap up this part of the presentation. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you liked it.
Thank you, Bertrand. And now I think we're going to hand over the baton to Catherine, who will click for her first slide. And we have about 20 minutes left, as Bertrand noted. And I want to leave time for some questions and answers. So hopefully we can get through these slides in the next 10 minutes or so. Thank you. Catherine?
Yes. Hello to all of you. Let's start with some words about Felco. Felco is a medium-sized company in Switzerland, manufacturing pruning shears since 1945. 150 people are producing about 1 million tools per year, which generates a turnover of around 36 million euros. More than 1,000 different items are exported worldwide by means of 100 exclusive distributors who resell the products to wholesalers and retailers. The end users of Felco tools are pruning professionals like viticulturists or landscape gardeners. What it used to be, before we were using MediaBin, each image was distributed by email or on CDs, which was, of course, very time-consuming and not a very interesting job. For each print and a web support, the images had to be taken from CDs and transformed manually to the right format. As nothing was organized, it was difficult to find the images. And each sales support was produced traditionally with the help of a marketing agency. So now, Felco provides a lot of marketing support with less than 2 employees. We made some comparisons with similar companies without an enterprise content management system, and we could notice that their marketing department do have a minimum of 10 employees to do the same job as we do at Felco with just 2 persons. Well, at Felco, we manage a lot of high-quality images, point-of-sales materials, advertisements, promotional gifts, and printed sales supports in up to 17 languages, packagings, an up-to-date website in 14 languages, exhibitions, event organization, and soon also an e-commerce platform. Since we use MediaBin, a lot of things have changed. We use MediaBin on 3 different levels. The first level is a worldwide image and video distribution, and for this we had a really immediate return on investment. Now only high-resolution originals of each image are stored. They are easy to find as they are distributed without the help of Felco. It's no work for Felco. As assets are provided by MediaBin in requested size and format, it's also less work and reduced agency fees for the users. To be granted access to our MediaBin, the users have just to fill out the registration form. That's all. We estimate that MediaBin used for worldwide image distribution eliminated the cost of our marketing agency, recovering pictures from the archives, the work of about half a person who previously had to order the image, burn a CD, write a letter, and post it. Also, the postal costs are eliminated, and the delivery time for a user to receive its picture is now very quick. Before, it took at least 2 weeks. So today, we distribute with MediaBin around 50,000 images per year, and this improves greatly our corporate identity at the international level. So, Tom, do you think it's time for the next pool question, maybe?
I think it might be. Could you connect to your next slide there, Catherine?
Yeah.
I think you should have a placeholder.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
So now our host will be putting up the question in just, there it is now. How many digital assets is your organization managing today? And your choices are less than 10,000, 10,000 to 50,000, more than 50,000. I have no idea, but it's a lot. And I'm not sure, but not too many. Catherine, I don't know about you, but my guess is, let me just remind our listeners, please click an answer and then hit the submit button at the bottom, on the bottom right of your screen. It's very important for you to answer these. Please participate in the poll. We love to hear from you. Catherine, I don't know about you, but I think I'd be in the D category. There's a lot of stuff out there, and I have no idea really how many.
I think we have about 20,000 images and videos.
Yeah, I think one of the big advantages of a DAM system is it can help you pin that down so that you know from day to day what assets you have and can manage them better. So I think we're going to be looking to close the poll in just a minute here, and then we'll look at the results. But please register your vote. You can still vote now and hit the submit button. And we're running just a little bit late in our program today. I'm trying to save some time for questions and answers. So as soon as we finish Catherine's presentation, we'll get into those. It's about 12 minutes to the hour now. Poll has ended, and we're waiting for the results to come up. I'll go through them quickly, and then Catherine will resume her presentation by clicking on her next slide after we read the results. We're waiting for the tabulation to come in. Here we go. The prominent answer is I'm not sure, but not too many. The second most was I have no idea, but it's a lot. And the third one was less than 10,000, so not that many, but that's, if you're trying to keep track of 10,000 digital assets, that could be a lot anyway. Catherine, if you click on your next slide and proceed with your presentation, that'd be great.
Yeah, okay. So the second level of MediaBin use is ads and communication material. All our distributors are able to create their own ads, visit cards, letterheads, but also envelopes, without having the job done by a marketing agency. It's all MediaBin who does it. It's easy and saves time and agency fees for all of our distribution network. The ads are created to the exact size requested by the media and are ready to be sent to the editor of the media. Here you see our finished ads in magazines. For Felco, this feature means also a better use of Felco's corporate identity, a worldwide media campaign with increase of brand recognition, And before having this feature, it was complicated. Our distributors did not advertise much, and also Felco did not have the resources to have the work done for them. We can maybe estimate that this would have been a job of 1/2 person at Felco to do this. The third level of MediaBean use is cross-media database publishing. The original images are stored in MediaBean, and they are used on all our packagings, printed catalogs, websites. MediaBean provides the resized images in correct format and resolution for each of these supports. This feature eliminated completely manual search and resizing of the pictures. And really, one great thing with that is that if the original image is changed in MediaBean, it changes automatically on all supports. We really like this feature. The relevant original MediaBean images are also automatically resized and published on our website and also soon on our e-shop. We were able to offer our distributors the possibility to animate their local websites with local contents, thanks to MediaBean. They are using MediaBean to store the images for their local contents, and all these images are, of course, also resized and published to their local websites automatically. The enterprise content management solution, including MediaBean and database publishing, was bought by Felco in 2005 in order to automate the marketing creation process. The project scope was to have original structured content stored only once, with the possibility to be used everywhere where necessary, to be able to offer a worldwide image and video self-service, to publish automatically printed sales supports and websites, and to have a solution from a strong company recognized as a leader in the content management industry. And of course, also to have a scalable solution which in the future could also be interfaced with our customer relationship management and also our enterprise resource planning solution. So at Felco, we bought MediaBean, but also additional software from HP, a Swiss database publishing software, and all development, maintenance, and hosting for Felco is provided by TBSCG. And to finish this presentation, the benefits for Felco are really reduced time to market in order to remain competitive, better utilization of resources, repetitive work is reduced in favor of work of greater added value. We have less agency fee for creating and amending our sales reports. Now we use creative people only for design of all our stuff. We have less translation costs as content are available from the database, and we have improved content quality. And as a conclusion, we can say that we are able really to do much more for approximately the same cost as before. But what we do invest is no more for being used only once, as it is with traditional way of working. It's really for being reused. So that was it. Thank you.
Section. It's time for your questions and answers, and please enter your questions in the Q&A module or hit Smarter Bam on Twitter or at CMS Wire. We have a bunch of questions ready. I'm going to ask our panelists, because we're short on time, to keep your answers as brief as possible. First, This is from Karthik. I think we'll direct this to Cam. Do your tools allow you to shrink image size without compromising quality of images? That's a very important question. And will this improve the performance for websites? Are there special output types for mobile?
Sure. So yes, as Catherine kind of demonstrated in her case study, yep, we can automatically shrink the size up, compromising the quality of the image for web. What MediaBin comes with is it comes with a couple of presets for transforming images, but also users can enlarge those presets for the self-service customers. All things being equal, it will improve the performance of websites, but obviously, you know, there are other factors that you need to think about in terms of like your runtime infrastructure, how you code the page, things like that.
Great. Thanks very much for that. Folks, we're going to be staying around a little bit longer.
It's Bertrand. Can I just add one thing on this, on the specific topic of the image quality? I mean, the resize that is happening behind the scene provides the same quality than Photoshop itself.
Great. We're going to be staying a few minutes late. I see most of our attendees are still in the room, and there are some good questions here. The next question is for Bertrand, and if you could briefly address a question from Swarnika. It's how essential is it to have an ECM strategy for a successful DAM implementation?
This is directly connected to my slide about the enterprise service bus and how to make sure that you will have the best return on investment for your DAM investment. Yes, it is key to make sure that the ECM strategy, which will drive the website content, is connected to the DAM implementation and the DAM strategy. There is a two-way communications between these two tools, and implementing them in silos will for sure lead to the ECM tool being used as a DAM or the DAM being used as an ECM tool at some point. The tricky point is that some ECM tools provide a DAM solution that is embedded in them. And then it's something that needs to be carefully analyzed. Is the out-of-the-box DAM functions of any given ECM tool is enough for your organization? Can it be reused elsewhere in your organization? And the question behind is that, can an embedded DAM within an ECM serve as a DAM for the whole organization? It's quite the same question that you might have for a single sign-on. Yes, my website, my ECM tool comes with an authentication mechanism. But you know what? I have a single sign-on because I want all my services to be authenticated the same way and centralized for security. It's the same thing with the DAM. Maybe it's provided within your ECM, but you have to look at it twice and make sure that it can serve the purpose. So yes, very important to make sure that the DAM roadmap and strategy is connected to your ECM roadmap and strategy. I hope it answers the question.
Great. Thank you. Catherine, I'm going to direct a question to you now. In the Felco system, how comprehensive is asset compliance, asset restriction, and user analytics? And I'll ask all our panelists, if you can keep your answers fairly brief, that would be very helpful to get more questions in.
Sorry, I did not understand quite well the question.
Let me repeat it. In your system at Felco, how comprehensive, how robust is the asset compliance, the asset access restriction, and user analytics?
Okay, so we have different folders in MediaBin, and we have some folders which are accessible to everybody, to all public, and we have folders which are more restricted only to our importers, or only to our marketing department, or only to Felco people. But most of the images are accessible by everybody. They have just to fill out a form to register, and then we let them have user login and password.
Great.
And hey Tom, I'd just like to add to that. Compliance and digital rights management is one of those things that for a DAM system is extremely important. We work with some of the largest image companies in the world to make, and our fully burnt workflow really helps to drive that compliance and asset restriction on a permission basis.
Thanks, Cam. That's a good point. I know Autonomy is very strong in that area. Bertrand, I have another question to you from Fred. If you could just list these, please. You said that users love to use your search feature in DAM. Are there some other killer, really important features in DAM that you see driving user adoption?
Well, maybe some sub-features of the search. I'll mention a couple of them. One is that is very fun to use is the one called Find Similar. So it will detect shapes within images and be able to look for images that looks like another one within the repository. So it is very important because then all of a sudden you can change the way you organize your assets, and you don't necessarily have to put the cars with the cars, the forks with the forks, and the planes with the planes, but you can organize them by another topic, by department, by date, or by whatever you want to change. And more importantly, you can change your mind down the road. So first planes with the planes and cars with the cars, and then maybe all the metal objects with all the metal objects and all the plastic objects together. And you can change your mind down the road. It doesn't matter from a DAM standpoint, and it really helps. So that's a very nice feature. Another one is, of course, the asset transformation, whether it's video transcoding, speech to text, and the images resizing without compromising the quality. And the last I would say is the ability to not only resize but remove metadata and false copyrights, put watermarks, and all these things. These are the three key features that are used in every single DAM implementation that I've seen. Yeah.
Okay, great. And another question for Bertrand from Swarnika again. What are some of the best features associated with the DAM rollout strategy to drive business process and culture change? Now, that's a topic I think we could hold another webinar on, but can you give us a couple of quick bullet points, Bertrand?
Sorry, you were breaking up. Can you please?
Sure, I'll repeat that. What are some of the best practices associated with a DAM rollout strategy that drive business process and culture change?
Well, yeah. How much time do we have?
Yeah, I know. Just a couple of bullet points, please. We're already a little bit over. We're going to hang on. I think this is probably going to be our final question.
So best practices for rolling out, I would say, if you want the change to be accepted when you roll out such a tool, first make sure that you have a set of early adopters that will actually promote the tool internally, and they will be your best advocates. And make sure that the tool, the first iteration, must work beautifully for these early adopters. That's the key thing if you want to have a successful rollout. The second thing is connected to what I said earlier. Do not work in silos. Make sure that at least another service within the organization, whether it's the web, the mobile, the intranet, the Woozu, whatever, will use as well the DAM to make sure that you consolidate the DAM as not only a DAM, but as really as an enterprise tool. I would say these are the two key things if you want the DAM investment to be a success.
Thank you very much for that succinct answer, Bertrand. I'm going to give the final question to Cam, and I'm just going to ask if you could list these, Cam. We really are short of time now. We didn't talk much about video. Does MediaBin support video, and what special features or considerations should we know about in the video context?
Sure. Yes, MediaBin does support video. Actually, it's one of its strengths, specifically the video analytics. So I talked a little bit about conceptual search. One of the things that MediaBin does very, very well is extract the topic of conversation and the subjects of conversation within the video and make those bigger topics or subjects immediately available for search. So, for example, a good way of doing it is, let's say I have a video that is a news segment, and it mentions Microsoft once within the audio segment, of that video. MediaBin will actually extract that, turn it into text, so that if I go into the system and then search for Microsoft, that video will appear.
Great.
Extremely important. So that, what special considerations could you consider within the video context? It's around both storage and usage of that video, as well as also the amount of different codecs that you have to use there. It's a very long conversation, but those are the main 2 or 3 things that I would stress.
And that's terrific. Thanks, Cam, and thank you to Catherine and Bertrand for a fascinating discussion today. I hope all our audience members stayed with us for those questions. We have a bunch more, but unfortunately, we're already over time. So thank you for joining us today. This webinar has been recorded. It will be available on cmswire.com in the next few days. We want to thank our audience for taking the time to be with us today and encourage you to stay tuned for upcoming webinars from CMS Wire. For all of us today at HP, CMS Wire, and the organizations represented here, this is Tom Murphy signing off. Thank you.